A big warning coming down from North Carolina's health department. Be aware of carbon monoxide during the upcoming winter storm. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless gas produced whenever fuel is burned. In an enclosed space, it can quickly build to deadly levels. The State Department of Health and Human Services has some tips to stay safe if your power goes out. Do not use gasoline-powered generators in enclosed or even partially enclosed spaces. Never use a stove or other gas appliances to heat your home. Do not use charcoal grills or propane stoves indoors, even in a fireplace. And install a carbon monoxide detector on each level of your home.